Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing great today. We're gonna kick this off with the CES 2024 preview show. Something that I wanted to do before we go to Vegas, and I'm very excited about CES this year. I'm not sure how much TV news we're gonna get in terms of advancing technology, but we're definitely getting, all the new TVs for 2024. And I'm excited about it. And I'm definitely gonna talk about LG. I did a video about LG, but we're gonna go over it again. I want to get your guys' thoughts on LG because I think it's, a very polarizing topic. Like I said in my video, I think it's going to be the most polarizing lineup for TVs this year because it's such a big separation between the C series and the G series. And I doubt you're going to have that with any other lineup. So, you can look at the A80L last year and the A95L, but like we kind of knew that was going to be a big separation. When you look at the G series and the C series, it's like it just keeps growing, and I think people are not happy about that. Um, but first of all, I just want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. If you guys are here, you guys are the early birds. I know that it starts to pick up as time goes on. Not everybody has their notifications turned on, so just when people see me streaming, then they'll pop in. And it takes some time to get people in here, so I do recognize that. I'm not going to go too far into talking about CES just yet, so I'll just say what's up to everybody. Let it breathe a little bit. What's up, Travis Sylvania? How you doing, man? Was hoping to get a guest in here today, but it's too short notice, I think. I did see that TKK commented that I should stream tomorrow and he would like to be on. So if you're on here, TKK, I'd love to invite you on right now, but I'm not probably going to stream tomorrow. We'll see. I usually don't stream back to back, and we're gonna do some more streams when we're in Vegas. So yeah, but I'm definitely gonna link up with TKK at least one time, talk to him, say what's up. At the very least, I know everybody's gonna be very busy at CES, and sometimes schedules don't line up. But yeah, man, we're gonna try to connect with as many people as possible. Very excited. Any news on the S90D? Nothing yet. But we can talk about the S90D. We could speculate about it, what we hope to see. Let me know what you guys hope to see. What do you hope to see with the S90D? Um, since you're asking that question, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And anybody else in chat can chime in on this as well. I'd like this to just be like a community stream where we kind of just talk about CES, what our hopes and our dreams are for CES. Because I really don't know what to expect. As far as like the S90C goes last year, I thought that was a really good implementation and a good step into the right direction for Samsung because they placed the affordability into QD-OLED, which I didn't expect, to be honest with you. They could have kept that as an exclusive, thing to the premium market, but no, they decided to just keep it along the lines of the S95B, where that was sort of affordable, right? And then the S90C was even more affordable. So I really like that. And I like that it competed with the C series in terms of pricing. Um, and I think that's a really good look for Samsung. It'll be interesting how they approach the S90D this year with the S95D. What are they going to do in terms of are they even going to have both TVs? I think I saw certifications for both, so I'm not quite sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you guys seen certifications for both the S90D and the S95D? I haven't seen the S95D yet, but I have seen the S90D certifications. So as far as that goes, I'm not sure. Classy, do you know, is there two different Samsungs this year, the S90D and the S95D? Because I might have missed that. I'll have to look on Flat Panels HD, see if there's anything about that. But as far as like, are they going to do anything to separate those two other than the one Connect box, which I don't think many people really care for anymore. There's too many issues with it. And like I said, it's not the most practical thing for everybody. The one Connect box, it sounds good on paper, and it once upon a time was good once it was, when it was a smaller cable, a longer cable. It used to be a really small, thin cable. It was long. It was a very practical thing to have, and I like that a lot if you're wall mounting. But now the One Connect box, I think it's a very troublesome situation. The cable seems to be a kind of pain point for people when they're talking about mounting that TV with the One Connect box. But yeah, they can have a nice slim design for it without it. And you're right. Like, I wonder if they just ditch it altogether, like you did with the QN95C, like you alluded to here. Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be interesting. Um, let's see. Yeah, as far as the S90D, let's keep talking about that. Um, what's going to be the big thing that separates it? Like, why would you want to spend more money on the S95D? And I think that'll be a really interesting question because last year it was all about the panel, right? Like you just wanted to get a guaranteed second generation panel, and they're pushing it harder on the S95C, it seemed. Um, but when we saw the 77 S90C and the S95C, and we looked at like measurements, and we saw that it was put side by side, there wasn't a huge difference there. So once everybody's using the same panel, like if everybody's using the second generation panel, um, is there going to be any reason to get the S95? I don't think so. Um, so that'll be a really good question to figure that one out and see if they're doing anything to make that better. I'll say that last year I didn't expect the S90C and I didn't expect the QN95C. I really didn't expect them to drop the One Connect box on the QN95C. And I also didn't expect them to have a different coating on the actual panel itself. So yeah, I guess that's something I should have saw at CES when I looked at it. This year I'm gonna try to do some more things. Like I'm gonna try to shine light with my camera. I was more so just kind of in awe of everything last year. I didn't get a chance to even think about doing things like, hey, let's take a picture of it with your cell phone up close to try to see what kind of pixels it is, or um, I don't even know if I can get that. I'm gonna try. We'll see if they will let me do that, and also do the light shining thing where you can see what kind of like anti-reflection layer it's going to have on it, etc. Do you think it'll just be an incremental upgrade from the S90C to the S90D? All signs point to that. I think that I would be kind of shocked to see any huge upgrade. I think that you could see a new processor. I think that's definitely a possibility. Um, Samsung is very competitive with LG. They got word that they were doing a new processor early on, I bet. I have to guess that they're very tight-knit, about these things, and that's leaked out, a while ago that LG was gonna do something with processing, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Samsung at least mention an upgrade in processing, even if it's just like a generation leap where it's like they always do a new processor every year, um, in terms of like LG where they go with the generation. And Samsung kinda does this as well, they just don't really name it. It's always going to be the same thing, but they do implement changes to it every year. It'll be interesting to see if that's going to be the case this year and if they're actually gonna name it something different. Because remember, 2 years now, we've been looking at the neural quantum processor, and that's been the one that started in the S95B, and that got carried over this year to the QN90C, and that also got carried into the S90C, the S95C, etc. So we'll see if there's going to be any new processing for that, but an incremental upgrade is pretty much what I would expect. Yeah, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Tech Me Out says, "Do you think the C series will provide a new remote this year?" No, I don't think so. I think they're gonna stick with this whole like WebOS thing, with the magic remote. I don't see them moving away from that. It doesn't seem like that's something LG would do. I will say that they made a lot of good improvements to the UI last year, something I didn't expect. So they always do surprise me with some sort of change. And of course, do you guys know that going forward from WebOS 24 all the way up until 2028, they're going to be implementing upgrades every year within that time period. So if you buy a TV this year, you'll have WebOS 28, when that comes out. So I think that's a really cool thing that they're doing. It doesn't make you have to upgrade your TV to get new features as far as the UI goes and the WebOS goes. I don't know how far that's actually going to stretch. That could just be related to the way their apps work, the way their you know system works, and with their internal apps. So I'm not sure. But I will say that they definitely do a really good job with UI, and I was really impressed with that. So as far as the new remote, no, I don't see that coming anytime soon. I suspect LED could have bigger changes this year. That's my hope. My hope is that we get bigger, brighter LED TVs. We've already seen that LED TVs are going the route of getting bigger and getting cheaper. So we're seeing this right now, right, with the QNED. I don't know. We'll talk about the QNED from LG. The QNED, I don't even really want to call it a QNED because it's got such like bad memories from when QNED was supposed to be a thing. But I don't think anybody really remembers that anymore. So like QNED, people know that it's just LG's like edgelit TVs. Pretty much they're mini LED TVs if they go that route. This year they are going to have mini LED TVs. They are going to have mini LED TVs, but they're also going to have edgelit TVs. So very confusing for some people who think that QNED is just a type of TV. It's not. It's just quantum nano put together. Um, it's their technology mixed with quantum dot. So yeah, and LG says don't call it QNED. They say it's QNED. All right. I just call it QNED because it's like I call OLED OLED. It's gonna be a tough thing to get out of my brain, but yeah, it's QNED. Like, don't call it QNED. When I think of QNED, I think of Ned Flanders from Simpsons all the time. Like every time I think of QNED, I always think of Ned Flanders. So yeah, we'll have to try to get QNED out of our head. QNED. Oh man. Oh my gosh. EHJ, I wish. Is there any TV that will make our Broncos look any better? Because we are looking and playing like hot garbage. We need a complete rebuild. Yeah, man. It's kind of rough what they did to Russ. I will say that. I do not condone what the Broncos did to Russ. So, um, that's all I'll say on that. But yeah, I wish. Let's see. With the new processor and the G4, it sounds like specular highlights may be specular and function important to me. They said something about 3%. I forgot where I read this. I think Vincent actually had a video. In his video, he's talking about them maybe making the 3% window have brighter highlights somehow. So we'll see what that implies and what that leads to, if that's something we can notice or not. We'll see. We'll certainly do all the tests, but as far as like normal brightness goes, like they're still quoting that 70% brighter than conventional OLEDs, which is what they did last year. So I don't expect a ton of leap, like a huge leap from LG in terms of the G series for brightness. But they do have a new processor, so we'll see what they can do. So that can always help. Happy New Year to you, Gaming Tech. Been following your channel a lot. I think you're doing a great job. Keep it up, man. And feel free to hop on whenever you want to. Um, it's always kind of like an open discussion. So if you ever want to just jump on, you can. Maybe I should get the G4 this time. It might be good. I'm really hopeful for the G4. And then one of the things that I was talking about is I really like what Samsung and Sony do with their game mode, for sure. Like, it's one of the best, when it comes to Sony, I do think they have the best looking game mode by far, and, one of the reasons why they do have the best looking game mode is because they allow the most amount of, picture processing in, and yeah, that might lead to some higher input lag, but I don't think it makes a huge difference, and so if LG went this route, and maybe we have a slightly higher input lag on the LG TVs, I'd be okay with it, and if they really want to, like, have a mode where it just disables the processing and you just get the lowest input lag possible, they can have a toggle sorta like boost mode where they can just disable all the processing that might add to the input lag, because LG is really great when it comes to picture quality, I love it. It's just there's no doubt about it, when I went into game mode, um, the picture quality just got worse, and you do see some detriments with the picture quality for the LG G series TVs and the C series TVs, and it's been like that for a while. I mean, like, this is not something new and groundbreaking. I just brought a lot of attention to it this year because I saw there was not a lot of attention being brought to it, and so yeah, I just wanted to make it clear, like, look, this is a problem. And, I've made a big deal about the SDR game mode for a while, and I think that's a problem too. I don't think they're going to address that part, but it would be really nice to see some better picture quality in game mode from LG. So that's my hope. Classy says that LG color luminance being reduced in game mode is not because of input lag, it's to prevent burn in or image retention. So they could find a way around this. That would be really nice. I don't know. Um, I guess they just don't trust their panel enough, or maybe they just did some testing that shows that it will lead to a higher amount of it. I trust LG. They're doing the right things over there, and they're pretty smart when it comes down to burn in. So, if that's the reason for it, then I definitely understand it. So I guess when it comes down to burn in, there's a lot of concern, and rightfully so, because it's pixels that degrade, right? So, I don't know. You say it's because of the 5-year warranty? They don't want those warranty claims? Maybe. That's actually a really good idea, for them to do that. Because the less, strain they put on their panels, the less they'll have to, you know, honor the warranty and fulfill the warranty, I should say. I haven't even thought about it like that. Like, they make their panels, um, have features in them that where you don't have the burn-in within that 5-year panel, warranty. So, I don't know. The thing is, like, you can have a QD-OLED and, you still get the colors, you still get all that, and you can't get that with LG right now, and that's unfortunate. I wish there was a way around that. So, I wonder, what that says for QD-OLED long term, but they don't seem to be afraid of that. Let's see. Do you think that Hisense and TCL will further the picture quality and specs on their TVs this year? Yeah, I definitely do. You say you're debating on getting a U8K for the bedroom when not gaming on my G3, or get a U8K on sale. I mean, honestly, if you wait, you remember you do have to wait. Sorry, you do have to wait until a little bit later in the year. Hisense typically releases around the summertime. Um, so you'll have to wait for summertime for sure if you're waiting for the U8. I guess it would be L. I don't know if it's gonna be called the U8L, but we'll see. Um, let's just say the next Hisense, U8. You'd have to wait until summertime for that. I really love the U8K. I thought it was a great TV. I actually have it in my bedroom right now. It's fantastic, and I think that overall, it's a great TV, especially for a bedroom, and I'm a big fan of having LED TVs in my bedroom, um, just because I do like, having full control on the brightness. You get that with OLED as well, but um, OLED starts to look a little bit weird when you reduce the brightness on it, in my opinion. I don't know, it's just a personal thing. I don't think there's much like scientific evidence behind that. I just don't think it looks that great when I lower the brightness. So having an LED in the bedroom is pretty cool, I think. I prefer it over an OLED TV. And if I'm watching a bunch of nothing but like NFL Network, I don't have to worry about that ever burning in. But I don't really worry about that in the first place. On the topic of burn-in, if QD-OLED has more burn-in issues in a few years, we can see them pull back performance in game mode as well in a few models from now. We just have to wait and see. Yeah, well, it is definitely a wait and see. It'd be unfortunate if, there was a lot more burn-in cases popping up, but I feel like if we would have heard about issues with burn-in, it would start to happen more and more and more, right? But we haven't seen it yet. It does take time, and I think that's one of the biggest misunderstandings from people is like it takes some time to put that stress on a panel. It's not something where you just leave your TV on overnight and then all of a sudden you're burning. That's not the case. So you definitely have to have stress on the panel. You have to really put in time in a game constantly in playing the same game over and over without varying your content. That's like the best way to get burn in. But hopefully you guys don't just do one thing on it and keep it that way. Also, taskbars. If you're using it as a monitor and you're having taskbars, you're definitely gonna want to make sure you have a taskbar that auto hides. That's something to get around burn-in as well. A95K from 2022, no issues yet. I hope not. I hope you wouldn't. That's way too early for burn-in. Um, if G4A11 is more than just hype and can fix near black flashing, overshoot, posterization, I would go back to WOLED. Stand in the box option doesn't hurt either. Yeah, I thought that stand in the box, the fact that they're gonna do that in certain regions, hopefully it is in the US. I like that, man. I think that's awesome. Um, Something they had needed to do for a while because when you're going to separate your C series and your G series, if you're gonna separate it that much, you can't just sell it with a wall mount in the box. You just can't. Like the reason why you would go with the G series in the past is because you wanted the gallery design. There wasn't a huge difference. Okay, maybe it had a heat sink. That was really it. But like realistically, when you compared them, like the G2 and the C2, the G2 is better, but by how much? Not by a ton. And then same thing with like the G1 and the C1. It's like not by much. But when you go with the G3 and the C3, it's like, okay, there's a huge difference there, and there's going to be even bigger difference now with new processing. So, yeah, I think this is a big problem if they didn't do that. So I'm glad to see them address complaints and put a stand in the box in certain regions. Again, hopefully US gets it. As far as like fixing that extra stuff, it's going to be interesting to see if they can overcome the weaknesses of a WOLED panel. Um, I mean, it is something that Sony does a pretty decent job at like doing. You can still see it to a certain degree, but like they have ways around it, so we'll see. I think processing can help with that. So, because like I said, I don't notice it on Sony TVs as much or at all. And we know that the posterization thing can definitely be fixed because Sony definitely has that covered. So yeah, processing will help with that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if maybe they have a new One Connect box. Also, I was thinking about um, that we have talked about that a lot last year, and these companies listen to us. And I'm not gonna take credit in that. Everybody's complaining about the One Connect box, right? And I think we have even got like big media outlets talking about the One Connect box and awesome creators like Caleb talking about the One Connect box issues. So, when it gets up to that level, um, you might see some changes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a new One Connect box implementation this year or them scale back on the One Connect box. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't bought a frame uh lately, so I don't know if this is true, but I think the frame still has the old One Connect box with the really long wire. Um, I would be curious to see how that works and if there's any issues with that. Because it just seems to be like the new One Connect boxes that have issues. Because I had Q7FN and that has the old One Connect box, and I've never had any issues with that playing Xbox. But of course, that's not a HDMI 2.1 box. So there's that. Yeah, no, I'm fine with it too. I just say that when it comes down to having the G4 and the C4, if you're gonna make them considerably different, you have to offer something with the stand in the box. You just have to. It's kind of a pain, like, if you're not mounting your TV, it's kind of a pain to get the G3 and then go buy one of those stands that you, mount on the back because you have to build that stand first of all, and then you have to, screw it into the back like, you're wall mounting it. So that's kind of annoying to deal with, it really is. I've been doing it to review the TV for a while, so it's nice to see it, with the stand in the box. It'll be certainly nicer to review for me. I know that. Yeah. The One Connect box has like, a lot of people have problems with it. It's probably one of the biggest complaints, this year, so. Are they updating the subpixel layout on the S90D, S95D this year? From what I'm hearing, I haven't heard anything about that. I know that in the monitor, they changed it, right? In monitors, they changed it, but makes sense to change it in a monitor. I don't know that it makes sense to change it in the TV. There hasn't been any reason to really wanna change it in the TV. Um, I personally use it as a monitor, my TV, and haven't really seen any fringing where it's, like, bad. Like, I can go and look for the fringing and I don't see it. So I think you'd have to get really close to see fringing and for it to be an issue. I think, like, with small text, it's definitely not an issue. It's only really on bigger text where you'd see it, and you're not really gonna zoom in on text too much. So we'll see. Like, I don't think they're gonna change the pixel structure because it doesn't seem to need it. If you look at my A95L review, I showed like text close up, and you couldn't see fringing on that, and I didn't have any issues with that. So I think the biggest thing where like Classy was saying he saw fringing a lot was on the bars, right? Classy, correct me if I'm wrong. You saw fringing on like black bars or on the top of black bars sometimes. I can't remember. I don't want to put words in your mouth. So, but yeah, I don't think fringing is huge, and so I don't think they need to change that. Let's see what else we got in chat. Got 103 people watching right now. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. If you're enjoying, please hit the like button. Spread this out to more people. I appreciate that. And if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat, and I'll be answering them. Hopefully, stick around for about 30 more minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer. I might go to about 8 o'clock. That's the plan, to go to about 8 o'clock Pacific. So yeah, we'll be chatting about CES all night long. I appreciate that. Thank you for the like. It's awesome. Black bars against bright scenes in a desert, but only if too close. So you have to get really close to see it, right? Because I was looking for fringing so much when I had the S95B, and I had a hard time finding it. So, but I know it's more of an issue on monitors. Um, so it's good that they're changing that. Let's see. I got a question earlier about the new QD-OLED monitors from Samsung. I really like that they're doing a flat one, right? They're doing a 32-inch flat 4K, which is awesome. I got my eye on that one for sure. That's going to be reviewed on the channel because I know everybody loves their flat monitors. Um, so I'm gonna definitely check that out. But does anybody know if it's matte finish or if it's glossy? I really hope it's glossy. Because I feel like they would kind of drop the ball if they went matte finish on that one. Um, I don't see the reason to go matte finish with the QD-OLED, especially if you're gonna use that same polarizer with it. Glare is not really an issue. How much is that monitor? I don't know if they have prices yet. It's a good question. But we're gonna try to do more monitors in 2024 or this year. It's already 2024, so like I should just say this year. So we're gonna try to do more monitors this year, and I'm gonna definitely cover some monitors at CES as well. CES coverage is gonna be bigger than last year. I promise that. I'm also thinking about doing a vlog for like the whole entire Vegas trip. Um, from the airport all the way down to hotel rooms, all the way down to events, before they tell me to stop shooting, I guess. Um, yeah, it's gonna be kind of fun. Hopefully I can get that kind of vlog thing going for it, but yeah, I definitely want to crank out the content. Because I feel like last year at CES, I wish I did more. Like I said, I was in awe at CES. I was like, this is cool. Um, and I really didn't do as much content as I should have. Yeah, the biggest difference I think with the G3 to the G4 is gonna be how much does that processing matter, right? And we won't know that until we get our hands on it. Um, but as far as like if you bought a G3 and people are having FOMO about it, like I wouldn't. Like just enjoy that in G3. It's a great TV still. Um, and there's like there's not a gigantic leap this year. Like, I know a lot of people are speculating about MLA 2.0, which didn't seem very realistic in the first place. You know, I don't know how they could like do that. Like, how do they even improve MLA? How does that improve? I guess you can just double the amount of lenses, but I don't even know if that's even possible. I think like just have to get better panel technology to get better like results, and that didn't happen. So yeah, I mean, don't expect anything too huge from the G4 as far as that goes. Would you upgrade from the C1 to the G4? Absolutely. That's definitely one thing I would do. If you're looking for an upgrade, it would be an upgrade. You would feel that upgrade. I think jumping from a C1 to a G3, you would feel that upgrade. That brightness difference is very noticeable, and it is something where, 2023 was the year that we got OLEDs, where you could say like, "What's the point of LCD?" Like you could literally say that now. Unless we're talking about size, you can literally go, "What's the point of LCD now?" And like before, it was like I would get an LCD TV because I wanted the brightness. And now it's like the 2023 OLEDs just took that whole equation and, they put a wrench into the plan because now you got 2023 OLEDs and 24 OLEDs that are going to be as bright as LCD TVs. So, yeah, you definitely would appreciate that jump, especially if you're somebody that's like really into brightness. And if you're somebody who likes to crank it like a little bit further, maybe like you like vivid mode or something, or you like a standard mode with some picture quality enhancements that would add to brightness, not necessarily creator's intent, then I think the G series is a really good spot for somebody jumping from a C series. I like the G series a lot. And I'll tell you right now, like if I'm getting a TV in 2024, which I probably will, I'm thinking about like going with an 83-inch G3, especially if the panel is better. I don't know if the panel is going to be much better or if it's going to just like magnify the issues with the 83-inch because the 83-inch has some issues. But we'll see, like, if they can clean that up, because I would imagine them putting MLA with the 83-inch panel with the problems that it had would just, like, magnify the issues that are already there, and hopefully that's not the case. Maybe they improved the 83-inch somewhat. I mean, it's about time, right? Like, they've been using the same 83-inch for a while now, so maybe they've made some improvements. That's why they feel comfortable enough to put it into, MLA with it. So hopefully, I I'm hopefully looking at a 83-inch G4. That would be really cool. Crazy how another TV manufacturer uses your panel and makes it a better TV. Yeah, I mean, we see it all the time with Sony, right? They just take LG's panel, Samsung's panel, and then they end up putting the best processor in it, and that's what they get. And that's why I think it's such a huge deal that LG is working on a new processor, and I hope that Samsung is working on a new processor because that's the biggest difference right now. If you look at picture quality, what's separating it? It's the things that the processor is doing, whether you like it or not. You can argue you might not like it because you're more into creator's intent. But then there's some processing things that actually help that. But a lot of the processing features that I enjoy actually probably uh, deviate from it a little bit. But I think when you're having new processing features, when you're having a good processor, that's just great. Like what XR Clear does, for example, if Sony had, sorry, if LG had that, if Samsung had that, you wouldn't have too many issues with, people talking about low bitrate content being an issue. And, I hear this being thrown around a lot that Samsung has the worst low bitrate content. Samsung has terrible low bitrate content. It's just not as good as Sony. And when you're thinking about, like, you see them side by side, you look at a LG and you look at a Samsung side by side. When it comes to low bitrate content, they're about the same. They really are about the same. There's not much that's worse on a Samsung or an LG. I don't think that one's necessarily worse than the other. They both have their issues. So I really hope my microphone's turned on. You can hear me up close and personal, I hope, right? I didn't even check the audio. I'm actually without a headset right now. I didn't even put a headset on. So, trying out this microphone for the first time. I like it. It sounds good. Um, Big fail from LG not offering flagship processor in C series. When Sony, you get flagship processing even on their budget TVs. Well, I mean, kind of. Right? Like, their budget TVs it depends on what you call a budget TV. If you're talking about, like, the X90L, like, if you consider that a budget TV, sure. Yeah, that's a really great point. In the past, I believe Sony did separate their, processor from their flagship TV. They did it maybe a few years in a row, but, yeah, lately, no, they've actually been really cool about giving the XR processor, this time their latest processor, which is the XR processor, they gave it to a lot more TVs in the lineup. Um, did I watch the latest A95L video? I didn't. I didn't get a chance to check it out yet. But I did watch your S90C settings video. I thought that was really good. Um, I haven't even played with the color controls on my Samsung TV before, so it's something I would definitely try to mess with. But as far as your A95L video, I haven't checked it out yet. Um, but I will. Don't worry. Can you check out the new Samsung QD-OLED monitors? Yeah, I definitely plan to. I want to know if they're matte too, because if they're matte, they're basically dead to me. Um, and I wouldn't want to get them nor recommend them. But we'll see. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but sometimes it can be. Depends on your lighting situation, I guess. The A95L has issues with streaming content in certain scenes. Really? Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. When I tested it, I didn't feel like there was any issues, and I checked it out against S90C and G3. So I wasn't able to check it next to the S95C because I didn't have that anymore. But I checked it out against those two, and it was pretty decent. Like I thought, it's what we expect from Sony. But if you found some things, then well, I'll definitely check that out. Is it just with the internal streaming? Is it with the external streamer? Yeah, because that could be interesting. Um, let's see. Yeah, going back to the monitors though, I do think that I am very intrigued by the G8, the flat one, because like I said, we been kind of asking for a flat 4K for a while. That's QD-OLED, and I'm glad that they're finally doing it. Audio is good, awesome, good to hear. When will movie studios, TV networks, streaming service step up their game? I mean, I think you're starting to see it. Like you're gonna start seeing it. It's really just about, the production studios. Once they start getting, better monitors in there for HDR, then they can start grading their content to that standard. But you're already seeing content being pushed really with really high brightness in mind. And you're gonna keep seeing it happen. These production companies are definitely on the forefront. They're always looking to go towards the next thing. So grading houses, things like that, they're definitely going to, get some of the latest monitors, and you might see one of those QD-OLED reference monitors pop up, one of those Flanders scientific monitors, I think they're called. You might see those pop into some studios. And I think certainly the higher brightness Sony reference monitor is going to help a lot with that too. So we'll see. On the topic of Sony, Chrome says he hopes that Sony has smaller size flagships this year. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like even the X95 series, the X95L this year was only 65-inch. It's been 65-inch for a while, right? Like 55-inch would be nice, I think, in those, but there's not a lot of revenue in there for Sony. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of profit. There's not a lot of reason to go 55 for Sony when it comes to those TVs, especially when people are in the market for a TV in that price range. They're usually gonna go for 65 or larger, and 55 is gonna be one that's kind of in the minority, actually. I would love to see 42-inch and 48-inch from the A80s this year. I think that would be really nice. I don't want them to separate it like they did in years past, where that's just kind of a confusing SKU to have. Like I thought the A90 was very dumb because the name, in my opinion, just kind of would confuse people. They're like, "Oh, it's the A90. It's kind of like the A95, right?" No, it's not. It's actually not. It's somewhat weaker than the A80 in a way. So it's like very disappointing why they went that route. And I hope this year, if they're going to announce 42-inch and 48-inch TVs, I hope Sony will take that A80 OLED and make it into those. Don't do a different model name for it. I hope that's the hope, at least. Or maybe like if they want to keep going with the A75, I don't think they will, by the way. I don't expect the A75L at launch. I think like this was more of a holiday thing to get people excited for Black Friday. It's not necessarily a Black Friday TV. It's just a somewhat downgraded version of the A80, but not downgraded in picture quality. So I don't expect the A75 at launch. I really don't. I think they're maybe gonna bring it again like during Christmas time and Black Friday and all that. I but I just don't see it at launch for that. I'd love to be proven wrong because I could see them go like 42-inch, 48-inch with the A75 in mind, since you're already kind of downgrading your speakers when you're going from 48 to 42. Anyway, it's just gonna happen with the size. So I'd love to see the A75 carry on and actually be a launch TV and then be a 48-inch, 42-inch TV. I think that would be really cool. Micro LED, it's way away. You should just get micro LED off of your mind because like we're not gonna see realistic micro LED for a while, and I don't know that it's ever going to really be something that they're gonna push because by the time 2030 comes out, we might have better technology. I mean, we're already starting to see, and arguably you could say that you might prefer QD-OLED over a micro LED. There's pros and cons to both, but micro LED is just not ready. It's just not ready for conventional sizes yet. We've seen some prototypes with Samsung, right? But man, they're so expensive and you're not going to see it be affordable for a while. I'm thinking like you'd be lucky if you see it by 2032, 2033. I keep hearing 2030. That's a ways away. Like we might have TVs that have images popping out of the screen by then. Holograms. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. I mean, that's a long ways away. You think about where we were with TV technology 5 years ago. Yeah. Um, who knows? Who knows where we're gonna be in 5 years? Yep, self-emissive quantum dots. That's definitely on the table. Only 100K. Yep. Very expensive. Phosphorus OLED, FOLED. I love saying FOLED, so I really hope that it comes out next year. FOLED is like one of the funnest things to say, so I just want to keep saying FOLED for the rest of my life. So I hope FOLED does come pretty soon. Um, just a personal thing. When I first read it, I was like, FOLED. Yeah, that's what we need. Micro LED has its own issues too. Yeah, it does. It does have its own issues. Um, has a lot of issues actually. But one of the biggest issues is like the fact that you need modules right now. You can't just get a TV. Let's see. Stop the FOLED. Exactly. 10 years ago, 77-inch LG OLED cost 20,000, and now it's 2,400. Yeah, think about that. Seriously, think about that. It is definitely that's a long time. Like, I mean, you talk in 10 years, but like just even think about 5 years ago. You know, when I started this channel it was like 3.5 years ago, something like that, maybe even 4 years. I don't know. But I remember how much the TV is like that I was looking at. So C series was around 2,400 or something like that for a 55-inch, close to that when it came out. So yeah, we're definitely seeing like prices are going down gradually, but they have realistically they have stayed kind of stagnant in certain areas for the last 3 years. But I do think, you know, as we see the economy start to improve a little bit more and more, you will see TV prices drop a little bit. This year, I don't know. Maybe it'll stay stagnant again, but yeah. Thanks for putting all the effort in. KG Real Talk, thanks for putting the effort in what you do. I enjoy your perspective on what these companies put out. But when are you going to mention how awesome the Bravia Cam is? Yeah, the Bravia Cam is, you know, we've talked about how awesome the Bravia Cam is. It's so awesome. Um I say that sarcastically, of course, you know, like for people who are new to the channel, I think the Bravia Cam is just one of those things where I wish it wasn't included in the A95. It's like, come on, man, you can get the price down a little bit if you just take that thing out, right? You could. I think you could. I don't know. Mine is tucked away in a corner. That's how useful it is. Yeah. I mean, I will say that there's definitely a usages for it, right? But you can connect a webcam to most TVs. It's not hard to find a webcam. Like, we don't need one that just attaches to the TV. There's not enough things that it does for the TV. Like, if it was more practical and there was reasons to have the Bravia Cam on the TV all the time, then yeah, it would be worth it. And I don't think this is not why it's expensive, right? Don't get me wrong. It doesn't help, but if you take away the A95L's Bravia Cam, it's probably like $100 cheaper. Like, I don't think it's costing them that much to put it in there. It's probably not even costing them $50 to just put it in there, to be honest. So I don't know how much it actually affects the price. TCL can really put LG in a bind if they solve the manufacturing issues with their inkjet printed RGB OLED. The target specs are 2000 nits peak and 300 average and 90% erect 2020. Yeah, I mean, it's not just manufacturing issues though. It's also there is some longevity concerns with inkjet printed OLED, and I think that could put some people off. So until they fix, whatever issues are surrounding that, I think we're a ways away from talking about that. But I do like that they purchased that, right? Like, I believe they purchased Joe Led, right? Or can't remember what it was called, something like that, right? I think they purchased that inkjet printing from them, so we'll see that. I know they had some prototypes last year with that in mind, and it wasn't too impressive. There is some benefits to it, but a lot of things with prototypes is they don't have processing in it, so it's hard to judge it, right? Things aren't always impressive when it comes down to prototypes and judging them. Michael Walker says, I replaced my Sony ZD9 75 3D HDR 4K. I got what you're saying. 75-inch with the UST AWOL 3500 Pro 120-inch with a self-rising screen, 4K Dolby Vision and 3D. I actually have that right behind me. 120-inch self-rising screen. It's the 3000 Pro from AWOL. They sent it out to me to check out, and I'm going to do a video on it. It's awesome. There's no doubt about it. Like, there's nothing like that immersion, right? And I was somebody who was kind of cautious on like ultra short throw projectors, but this thing is awesome. I love it. So like I'm grateful to kind of be in the position to check out a product like that, and I'd definitely buy it. It's awesome. It's cool. It's one of the reasons why I didn't get a 100-inch TV this year, or a 98-inch TV, or even an 85-inch TV. I couldn't even get a 100-inch TV up the stairs, but I can get a 120-inch rising screen up the stairs. It was kind of a pain. Like, let's be real, that was an obstacle, but we got it. I definitely couldn't get a TV up here like that though. Um, so yeah, I'm with the ultra short throw thing. I like it a lot. Surprisingly brighter than I thought. Like, and the fact that I can play games with minimal input lag on it, really awesome. I didn't expect that at all, because all I hear about from projectors is that it has bad input lag and everything, but I didn't have any issues with it. So I was happy with it a lot. I was very happy with it. Yeah. Jokes aside, thanks for making the stream tonight. Yeah, I was happy to. I really wanted to make a stream before we go to Vegas, and I say we, and it's me. But everybody's gonna be there. FOMO's gonna be there. Brandon's gonna be there. Brian's gonna be there. Unfortunately, Classy won't be joining us, and Max won't be joining us, but it's okay. I understand. Those are some busy guys, and gonna get to meet a lot of people. Like I'm gonna meet TKK for the first time, most likely. Um, as long as we can find some time to meet up, and there's some other people I want to meet too. Last year I met Tech Steve and Caleb Dennison. I even met David Katzmeyer, which was awesome. Grew up watching him. Not grew up, but I was watching him when I was like getting into TVs and stuff when I was a teenager. So it's really cool to see that. I guess it is growing up. Um, so let's see. SD says Sony needs a full fat X95L in all sizes without any downgrades in contrast, etc. You mean like the panels that they're using? Because like 85-inch is clearly better than all the other sizes, right? And it more so has to do with the panels that they're using, I think. But we'll see. I would love to see the X90. Oh, I get what you're saying. So you're talking about the offering of the X95L in all sizes, right? Because we only got it in 85-inch. All right, I got what you're saying. Yeah, no, it would be nice to see the full lineup this year. Um, that's pretty awesome. You have the Nakamichi Dragon. That's pretty cool. That thing looks pretty awesome. Let's see. What else we got? I don't think that dude's going. So I can't get the autograph. Let's see what else we got here. Unfortunately, you gotta wait. What were we talking about? Luke. What was Luke asking? Ah, here we go. Better price on OLED TVs before, after the Super Bowl. Definitely after the Super Bowl. I mean, right now, it's not a good time to buy. I would say like Super Bowl will kick in to back to Black Friday prices. So Super Bowl prices hardly ever are lower than Black Friday prices. You'll likely get the same prices as Black Friday prices and lower than what you see now because January 1st is the time where you see prices go back up. There's some TVs that are still at Black Friday prices, but it's very low amounts compared to what it was last week, for example. But yeah, like beginning of the year, we always see TV prices go back up all the way. Sometimes there's like little flash sales on the weekends, so you can watch out for that. But Super Bowl is going to be basically Black Friday prices. So if you want to know what Super Bowl prices are going to be, just look at the Black Friday price and what that was. And a way to track prices is going to Camel. It's a website that tracks Amazon prices, and Amazon pricing is going to be fairly most likely the same as every other retailer because the TV manufacturers set the price, not the retailers. So you can see the price history and what it was on Black Friday, etc., and then judge it off of that. But you're not going to see TVs get much lower on Super Bowl. It's very rare. I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen. It could happen, um, but it's very rare. I think the cases where you still have some 2022 TVs lying around, I don't know, then those are the ones you see deeply discounted. But there's not much of those. There's not very much of those lying around anymore. So I don't expect anything huge for Super Bowl. Just Black Friday prices here. The time to buy last year, QD-OLEDs, that's going to be around April, March, when we start to see the newer ones release. AB, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Here's some money to put up with my lame Bravia Cam jokes." They're not lame. I like them. I like the Bravia Cam jokes. I had fun when we were talking about that with Max on that stream. That was so fun. Um, it was. I think it's funny. I don't think it's lame. But he said, "I'm well aware with the effort you put in. I can't promise I'll stop with the jokes. Please don't. Please don't stop." And shout out from South Carolina, my bud. Awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate the love. Um, you didn't have to do that. That's awesome. I appreciate the support. AB is awesome. Hopefully not Antonio Brown, though, right? Like, I don't know if that's the Antonio Brown, but I don't think it is. Uh, man, let's see. Will the Super Bowl be in 4K this year? I don't know. It's a good question. It usually is, right? Like, there's usually a way to watch it, but it's never really in 4K anyway. It's usually just 1080p upscaled to 4K. So you probably won't be able to tell a difference. I know that for sure, but I'll say this, like streaming with YouTube TV, I've never seen clearer football games. Like I really love like streaming is streaming is way better. Way better than I thought. Like I thought streaming like football games. This is the first year I've had YouTube TV with NFL Sunday Ticket. I've been locked into Direct TV before because of Sunday Ticket, but like going from Direct TV to YouTube TV for football games is crazy. It's almost like going from 720p to 1080p. It's like so huge. Um, I think it's yeah, I think it's a big deal, honestly. So like streaming looks good for sure, and it's full 1080p, and I like it. Whereas before it was like maybe 480, 720, even 720i sometimes. I don't know, 1080i actually. Yeah. Um, Here's a question. It says, when should you calibrate your TV? You know, that's not the greatest question for me because I don't calibrate my TVs, but only time I would say you would want to calibrate your TV is if you just want to have a similar to what reference calibration would look like. If you want that reference look, if you want the full creator's intent and you're afraid you're not getting it with the modes that are supplied by manufacturers like filmmaker mode, for example, or movie mode, which are pretty spot on, pretty close most of the time. I would say like most of the time they're pretty close and good enough for most people, but the people that would really want calibration is the ones that would want reference accuracy, and especially those that work in the film and broadcast industry. Those are the people that would really want that would really want the reference calibration, right? Especially on your monitor if you're working on anything like that. But I would typically say it's mostly for people that want 100% like closest to reference that you can get. It's not for most people. I'll say this, and you know, I appreciate everything that calibrators do, and I think they do a really good job. And you can't replace calibration. You just can't. Like if somebody's gonna tell you that they'll just give you settings and that replaces calibration, it doesn't. Nothing can replace like real calibration. So if you want real calibration, hire somebody like Classy to calibrate your TV, and that's gonna be your best bet. And I don't calibrate my TVs. I put in settings that I like, very minimal changes. I tweak like a few things in the menu. That's it. I don't touch color. I don't touch like the CMS or anything like that. No color management systems, nothing. So yeah, I try not to mess with that. I try not to mess with the white balance too much. I can change the white balance because I have a couple of displays and I can look at those. But, like, I don't recommend going in and changing the white balance yourself unless you know what you're doing. And I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just, like, judging it off of other TVs and changing it that way. And if you're not a purist, then definitely calibration is not for you. So, yeah, don't even think about it. Um, if you've had your TVs calibrated to a white point, it's hard to go back to uncalibrated ones. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely gonna be true. Um, Getting that white point right is probably the best thing, in terms of calibration. I think that's why a lot of people get it. So I'm personally I love what Sony does with their white point. So I'm cool with the like the out of the box white point for like the A95L. I love that. Um, so I don't really have an issue with mine too much. So I don't really need to get it calibrated. But one of these days I'm gonna have Classy come over and calibrate one of my TVs when he's in the area. It'd be definitely cool to do a little meetup down the line. Hopefully, like when I'm in a different place. Um, Kitty G man, what's up? He says KG Samsung is going to make a bigger gap between the S. Let's see. Samsung is going to make a bigger gap between the S95D and the S90D with picture quality, price, flagship TV, and second below should be close as far as picture quality versus price. Shouldn't be this close. Yeah, I think what you're saying. I get what I kind of think. Let me correct me if I'm wrong. Is what you're saying this like um you think that the S95D and the S90D are going to have bigger separations this year because last year there wasn't a huge separation? Like, is that what you're saying? Because there's not really a big gap between the S90C and the S95C. So you think this year there's going to be a bigger gap? Okay. Yeah. So I was thinking about this. I was actually talking about this when the stream started. Um, so you're in the same mind frame that I was, and I think it'll be interesting to see if they're going to go that route. And I don't know what they could do other than, man, I hate to say this, but like cap the brightness on the S90C to like 1,000 nits and just like manually with the software and don't let you crack that. Like that would suck. Like I don't want that for anybody. If they keep it the way it is and they're all using second generation panels now, unless they're going to a third generation, I haven't heard anything based on the information that's out there. But let's say they're all second generation panels. What reason is there going to be to go for a S95C or S95D instead of a S90D? And what's going to be the reason to not just go for a S90C over an S90D? Yep, we'll see, right? Because this could be one of those years where I'm saying like S90C is just such a good value, and I don't see it improving much this year. So I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's not the case. I hate those years because we've had those years with the C series. Okay, we have those years every year with the C series. Let me correct myself. So I really hope that's not the case for the S90 series this year. But I really love that kind of train of thought that you're on. I think it makes a lot of sense. All right. Let's see. So we've talked about Samsung, we've talked about LG. We haven't really talked about Sony that much. We've talked a little bit about TCL and Hisense, but if you guys have questions about TCL, Hisense, or Sony, I mean, really any brand, let's talk about it. Let's bring up that discussion right now. Because I think there's some interesting things that Sony can do, and we might not hear about everything that Sony's offering for a while. Um, because they tend to like hang back a little bit at CES, if not be there at all. So we'll see with Sony. You know, I would love this from Sony. And I'll say this: I think that with the implementation of an 83-inch MLA, like I would love to see Sony go the route of having a model with MLA. I think that would be really cool. I don't see it happening. I mean, I really don't. If I had to predict, I'm not predicting that. I just think it would be cool if that happened, but I feel like they wouldn't branch their models that much. I don't think they would put that much variance into all their models. I would love to see them not do a regular double. Sorry, I would love to see them not do a regular WOLED and just go straight to a MLA based OLED. There might be some restrictions beyond that, though. There might be a patent that is secret that we don't know about, where it's like only LG can have this for a couple of months. We don't know. Um, and then that would force that TV into a later release date if that was the case. The other thing is when it comes down to QD-OLED, like people think that there's a possibility that they can have a cheaper version of the QD-OLED. I don't think they're gonna do that. Yeah, come on, like Sony is not gonna do that. they're gonna keep it on the A95, and you know what? I honestly do expect an A95M this year. So yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. Uh, Daniel, thank you for the super chat. He says, I was waiting for a QD-OLED 83-inch. Do you think a new G4 MLA is a good option too? I know QD-OLED tends to have better color, but are they that far off? Honestly, not too far off. I think there is a separation if you go looking for it in in the colors for sure. When we're talking about color brightness, um, QD-OLED does look better with color brightness in mind. You still have some fall offs with even with MLA, um, enhancing the WOLED. It still is a WOLED at its core, so you are going to have, the colors fall apart a little bit at higher brightness levels. It's not dramatic though. It's not something that is a deal killer. I loved the colors from the G3 last year. I thought the colors were fine, and honestly, when we were watching Pixar movies side by side, the G3 sometimes would look better than a QD OLED, but that's not necessarily pushing the colors to that, 2020 space. So y- higher brightness levels, the colors still do kind of start to turn white a little bit, but it's not as bad as, say, like a regular WOLED. They did a really good job with their um the vibrance, the color vibrance and the enhancements that they made. So I do like that a lot, and I think the G4 83-inch is definitely on the table. It's on the table for me even to think about because I like it, and I was waiting for a 83-inch QD OLED as well. Maybe we'll get a shocking surprise. I don't know. I didn't hear anything, so that's not a good sign. Um, but yeah, I would look at the 83-inch G4 for sure. I don't think it's too far off. I said the G3 and the S90C. When I compared them, it was really only game mode where the S90C won. And then there's not that much content that pushes the the G series out of the equation. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I think LG has a lot of, answers, to be there. There's a lot of questions that need answered, when it comes down to the new processing. So we'll see. Am I late on this? A little bit late. We're going for about um 12 more minutes or so. Is Hisense gonna have the 110-inch mini LED to show up at CES? I 100%. I would bet on it. Last year they had it, when it was 8K. So last year they had 120-inch. Sorry, last year they had the 110-inch UX, and this was the 8K version of the UX. And at the time, it was sort of like a prototype, and that was on the show floor. I got some footage of that in my Hisense video that I did from CES last year. So I expect it this year. We still don't know if it's going to be 8K or 4K. I hope it's 4K, because that'll keep the price down on it a little bit. But yeah, I fully expect it to be there, and I'll cover it for sure. Yeah, TCL has a 115-inch TV in China. I saw Linus's video about it. Linus Tech Tips has a video on this. So if you guys are like looking for some entertainment, it's okay. It's not a bad video. It's like a two-part video. Some cringy stuff in it, but it's not bad. If you enjoy Linus, it's a fun video to watch, I guess. I don't know much about any of them coming this year, but I mean, like 115-inch TVs. I heard 120-inch TVs are definitely on the table, so we'll see. 10 minutes. We'll be headed out here in about 10-15 minutes. I don't know. We'll see. So let me put the last call up on questions. If you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. If you really want your question answered, super chat's going to be the best way, but it's not required. I will try to answer all the questions in the comments, but I do appreciate any super chats that do come. Again, it's not required, so definitely, if you have a question, don't be afraid to type it in chat right now. Let's see what we got. 144 hertz will be the new standard in TVs moving forward. Yeah, we're starting to see. I don't think there's going to be a flagship TV without 144 hertz this year, so that's good for PC gamers. It doesn't really do anything for console gamers, um, but yeah, we'll see. If there's going to be anything new on the horizon with that. Should be some new console news coming out pretty soon, right? Like I keep hearing about the Switch 2 being a possibility. I hope so. Hope so. Um, let's see. If I missed your question, retype it, please. Because I don't want anybody to not have their question answered. But I do tend to miss some questions sometimes, so retyping it is never a bad thing. All right, so I think I'm caught up on those, so let's see if there's any new ones. Scrolling down here. Are you under NDA? Not currently. So as of right now, I'm not under NDA from any company. So everything that I'm saying, speculation based wise, I know nothing. I'll tell you that right now. I know nothing. After CES, I can't tell you if I'm under NDA. If I am, I'll let you know that I can't talk about something. But as of right now, I don't think I'm under any sort of NDA. I know I'm not under any sort of NDA. But that could change, this week or this weekend. So we'll see. Maybe. Maybe I'll be under some sort of NDA and I don't even know it yet until I sign something, right? Uh, but no, currently right now I'm not under NDA of any type and I don't know anything from any company. It's all purely speculation except for the stuff that was released yesterday from LG. That's common information and we know, right? Any other plans in Vegas before or after the show? Safe travels, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, actually, well, plan in Vegas is on Sunday. I'm planning on going to the Broncos versus Raiders game. Uh, I wish it was a better circumstance and, they actually had some playoffs to fight for, but it's a meaningless game and Jarrett Stidham's going to be starting instead of Russell Wilson. So, I mean, it is what it is. I just want to go see the Broncos play, so I'm gonna go check that out. Because it's kind of a cool coincidence that the Broncos are playing in Vegas while I'm in Vegas, and I don't get a chance to see the Broncos live that much. So yeah, that's definitely a plan. And before the show, there's a lot of stuff to check out, restaurants and everything. I love going to Vegas early, not only because you do get the media coverage and there's private events from the companies and stuff that'll help you out with the content and producing content. And sometimes you'll know information and have a chance to write things and make content before it actually goes live to the public. That's nice. Um, but there is also there's a lot of free time where you get to enjoy restaurants and hang out and sightsee and stuff. I'm gonna enjoy getting the chance to hang out with FOMO and Brian and Brandon again. And like I said, I'm gonna meet up with TKK probably and some other people maybe. We'll see. But yeah, it's always cool. CES is always fun. It is definitely busy though. It is hard to find time to do things sometimes. Like especially once the week gets going during the convention start. Like that's definitely hard to meet up. Um Still hoping for 3D in 2024. It would be nice even though it won't be happening. Yeah. I would say like if you're a fan of 3D, definitely consider going with a short throw projector, man. Like the ultra short throw projectors, like the one I got, the one from AWOL Vision, very cool to do 3D movies in. I think that's the way to go if you love 3D. You need the content though, right? We need more 3D content. But the Apple Vision Pro is also another way to go with 3D, and Apple Vision Pro will probably force more companies to want to do content in 3D. So there's that, right? And all you need is just a few driving factors. We get more ultra short throw coverage out there for 3D. We get more Apple Vision Pro, like more people adopting that, I guess, for the 3D purposes. Then you never know. Companies and studios might want to do more 3D content, and maybe that will push it back into putting it into TVs again. Certainly possible. It's not like it takes that much work. Getty G, man, I don't expect much from Sony, to be honest with you. Um, I don't think you're gonna get a huge announcement or anything. I don't think you're gonna get a huge public announcement of any type, but I could be wrong, and I could be proven wrong by a lot of things. I hope I'm wrong. So, um, there is a Sony video tomorrow, apparently. I think, right? Am I wrong? Caleb dropping a Sony video, or somebody is dropping a Sony video? We're about to find out tomorrow, I guess, right? And maybe if it's big enough, I might just be up on a live stream again talking about it. But if something does get talked about from Sony tomorrow and it's worth talking about, there might not be a live stream tomorrow, but we'll definitely talk about it once we get into Vegas, because I plan on streaming a few times while I'm in Vegas. So on location, as long as the Wi-Fi doesn't suck in the hotel, right? Like, you never know. Yep, Caleb drops tomorrow, and he said another YouTuber. Another YouTuber. It's probably gonna be Vincent, right? Yeah. Um, let's see. Caleb is awesome, guys. I think Caleb's really cool. I met him last year. He's a really cool dude. Met his producer last year. He's a really cool dude. Um, so yeah, I got nothing but love for the Digital Trench team. Good people. Let's find out what else we got question wise. Couple more questions to go. All right, so I'm gonna do like 5 more minutes, and then we're gonna head out. But before I head out, and we're gonna answer some more questions. But if you guys haven't already, hit the like button. I appreciate that. And then if you guys plan on buying a TV this year, make sure before you do so, if you could use one of the affiliate links below. That helps support the channel and gets us more TVs into review. And this year definitely trying to get more TVs in for review. Last year we got more than ever, I think. And this year we're gonna try to get more and more. I'm gonna ask you guys this right now, though. Do you guys care about um the 7,000 series, the 8,000 series? Like, what is the cutoff point to what series of TVs you care about? Is there a certain threshold? Because I'm trying to find out, like, am I excluding a certain type of TV too much, or am I just focusing on premium stuff too much? Like, the problem with edgelit TVs is that in my whole time covering this, and even my whole time working at Best Buy, the amount of change that there is from edgelit TV 5 years ago to one now, it's just like there's not much difference, right? An edgelit TV is very similar to an edgelit TV today. So, maybe if we see more advancements, we start to see more like full array local dimming TVs that are more affordable, that's going to compete with Hisense and TCL, which is, if I'm Sony, if I'm LG, if I'm Samsung, I'm starting to take notice of what TCL and Hisense are doing with full array local dimming and mini LED at an affordable price. And I'm attacking that. I'm thinking in my head, how much does this really cost us? We're losing market share to TCL and Hisense. We really are. So if they're smart and they want that market share, maybe they don't want it. I don't know. Maybe they just think that they can live off of brand recognition. And then people are gonna keep buying edgelit TVs over full array local dimming TVs. I hope that's not the case. I hope they're listening. I would love to see that be the case, man. I really would. Yeah, what do we consider mid range? Where does mid range start? Like, I've always wondered that. Like, I keep saying mid range a lot. I just don't know exactly where it starts. Is mid range like, is that like the TCL U8? Is that mid range? Um, is like X90L, the same price as the U8? So like, would that be like mid range? So SDs as I vote QN85 X90 series higher only. Yeah, I that's typically what I like to cover because that's where we only really see the differences, the advancements, right? Like, no disrespect to people who like the X80L. Sorry, there was no X80L this year. That should tell you something, right? Like, no disrespect to somebody who likes the X80K or the X85K. They're good TVs, but they haven't changed much, in a few years from year to year implementations. That doesn't change that much. That's why I don't like covering that much from that line. And so, yeah, I think if there was more changes in that price range, then we could talk about it more. It's just such a hard thing to cover. But I do feel like maybe I'm doing a disservice to people who want to hear about information about that TV because there's not a ton of information out there about some of those lower end models. And they're not bad TVs. For the price, they're actually pretty good TVs. It's just that they haven't changed from year to year that much. And so that's just the struggle that I have. I will maybe try to find a way to fit them in there sometimes, but we'll see. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, it's gonna be different for everybody, right? Mid-range is something that you can't really define for everybody. That's a good point. Um Yeah, um, yep. That's that's pretty funny. I'm gonna look what double R said exactly. Um Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that more too. I'm gonna see the Broncos live, but I'm also just kind of looking forward to the carpet more than seeing the Broncos live. Let's be real. So yeah, it's a great point. Definitely gonna talk about that carpet. Oh heck yeah, Techno Dad in here. What's up? What's up, Shauna? Man, we definitely gonna meet up this time. Last time we didn't get a chance to meet up, but this time we will for sure. That is happening. I did a stream with him before, but I actually never met him in real life. Let's see what we got here. I'm getting in on Sunday. I'm getting in on Saturday. So I'll be in on Saturday. Sunday, I'm going to go to the Broncos game, and then there's some events on Sunday night. So I might catch you in one of those, I'm sure. And Monday, Tuesday, I don't know what the plan is yet. We're definitely going to link up, I'm sure. All of us are probably going to have something planned. We got to do like a big dinner or something for sure. What we got here in chat. All right. Yep. Yeah, all the press releases. It's gonna be nuts. I want to eat caviar at the Bellagio Piano Bar. I'm not really into caviar, but I'll definitely be chilling in that area. So I'm staying at the Vidara from Saturday, Sunday. So Saturday night at the Vidara, Sunday night at the Vidara, Monday night at the Bellagio, Tuesday night at the Bellagio. So that's where I'm gonna be for 4 nights. Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm looking forward to it. I got a really good deal, man, on these prices. So I was happy about the prices. You think so? You think we're about to get killed? I honestly don't, man. Jarrett Stidham is about to light it up. I'm telling you that right now. I'm optimistic about Jarrett. I don't think he's like a long-term starter. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that. But I'm excited to see him with Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims. He didn't have that last week and he looked pretty decent, right? Like the production wasn't much worse. So, yeah, I think the Raiders are going to be tough, but I can see it. I can see it. Yeah, yeah. The Bellagio was a little bit more pricier than I wanted to go, but I wanted to stay closer to the Caesar's Palace. Caesar's Palace was the same price as the Bellagio when I booked it. It's definitely gonna break the bank. I'm gonna be paying for it for a little bit, but man, it's all about the experience, right? But that's where everybody's staying. Everybody's staying at the Caesars, so it's close to that. I definitely want to be in that area. I just need Green Bay to beat the Bears. That's right. I hope you guys make the playoffs. I think that would be really cool. It's been a really weird year for Green Bay, so like I definitely kind of want them to make the playoffs. They've gotten like so much hate and fans gave up for a while. It's almost like the Broncos when you think about it, except for you guys might actually make the playoffs. Nope, don't want Zach Wilson. That dude, I can't think of a worse quarterback with Sean Payton than Zach Wilson. Can you? Because I couldn't. Like you think he's yelling at Russ, man? If he had Zach Wilson, it'd be over. Zach Wilson would just be crying. All right. Let me catch up with the chat, and then I think we're gonna take two more questions. And then I'm bounce out of here, eat some food, and catch you guys in Las Vegas. Might do another stream. We'll see, but probably not. Probably done until Vegas. Vegas starts, then you'll see more content for sure. I definitely wanted to get that LG video out there though, so it's doing really well, and I thank you guys for giving that video love, man. Um, I really wanted to do a talking head version of that video, but like I just couldn't get my words out. And I was like, ah man, let me just take my time and just do a voiceover podcast style thing. So that's why it was like it was. But yeah, the content in Vegas is gonna be awesome. I can't wait. Can't wait to go to the Broncos game. I might not though, I'll be honest. Like I'm buying the tickets last minute. I'm gonna try to get that last minute sale. And because nobody wants Raiders Broncos tickets right now. They both suck. They're both out of the playoffs. This is a meaningless game. You got backup quarterback versus backup quarterback. You get the world premiere matchup of Jarrett Stidham versus Aiden O'Connell. Whoa. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get some tickets on the cheap there. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah. If anybody got connections, hit me up. I'll definitely go. I'll definitely take you up on that. Just don't beat me up in the alley. Uh, that's all I ask. And what else have we got? Um, you guys are awesome. So much love. Thank you. Appreciate all of the love. Scrolling through chat, there's a lot of love. Kind of shocked that MLA came to the M4. So was I. I was shocked by that too. It's a really good thing. It does make sense. If you're gonna have a TV that's gonna be like your flagship wireless TV, should have MLA. I'm glad it does. All right, guys. Um, Yep, the Jets have worse luck with quarterbacks, that's for sure. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. I'll see you at CES. Make sure you continue checking out the channel for coverage. Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you turn on notifications because when I go live, you'll get that notification that I'm live, and you'll be able to chat with me and talk about CES. I'm looking forward to Vegas, talking with you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. and I hope to see you next time.